Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and this video is going to be covering my UI, interface, add-ons, all of that heading into War Within, with links all in down below or in the description or my Discord, a mix of things. All the profiles that I can share are going to be in there, as well as the Warlock spreadsheet for War Within, which is indeed coming out public this video. The spreadsheet has talent builds for all the specs in it, talent codes, some sims here and there, depending when they're being updated. Sims aren't really done yet for a lot of things for Warlock, really any class in general. Some gearing, as well as a page covering the raid, all the bosses, best specs, testing videos, and all. Basically a hub for all information, if you guys are interested in it. Week Wars add-ons, all the profiles that you're going to see here, well, should be somewhere down in the description below if you want it. Twitch, Discord links as well if you can hop in there. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so I think the best place to start here is actually looking at my macros. So I'll have these macros in my paste bin. Some of them might be a few years old if you look at like paste bin dates, but honestly, it's just sort of how it is. They've been the same for a long time. We've got a few here. Now, the first one here is going to be corruption. This macro here, you can use this for corruption. You can use it for agony, basically any kind of dot effect you want to put up. This is just a mouse over macro for a target, like an aggressive target, one, harm, that you can apply a dot to. Agony, corruption, whatever. If you want to have it so you can mouse over these mobs and just simply without targeting them, place your mouse over it and hit agony or hit corruption. For example, I can put it right here. I am not targeting this beetle, but corruption was applied and it killed it. You can't do that with baseline corruption or baseline agony, but if you want a macro to modify that, you can do that with agony, corruption, so on and so forth. I don't like that playstyle a whole lot, but if you want to, that option is there. I also have dark glare here. Realistically, I shouldn't macro these together, but I've been a little lazy at times. If you want to be lazy too, this works for Dark Glare, for Tyrant, for Infernal. You can do Berserking, or I did Blood Fury, way that I can farm. I'm also lazy to hit two buttons at once. You can macro your ratio into your main cooldown, whether it's Dark Glare being 2 minutes, Infernal being 2, which both line up with Blood Fury, which is good for Orc, or, Tyrant being 1 minute, but, the bigger ones every 2. You can do that if you want as well. I don't use it in prog, but in farm I was lazy. If you want to do that, a-okay, no problem. To a similar extent, we have Havoc here for Destro. If I was playing Destro, I'll actually swap here for you guys to show you. This is very similar to, this actually is the same thing pretty much as the Agony / Corruption ones, where if you mouse over a target with your Havoc, for example, I'll grab this and put it here. If I mouse over a target with my Havoc, the spell is not known, but we can make that known by doing this. Without targeting the mob, it will apply Havoc to that target. Now, if I was going to use like a mouse over macro, Havoc is definitely one that I would consider using comparatively to, others. Do I have it here? Oh, this is a Demon Bolt one. That's okay, because we can use this one here, all the same. I don't know why it's labeled differently, but that's okay. So basically, this mob here, I am not targeting it, but if I hit my Havoc with my, keybind for the mouse over, Havoc is now applied to that target. It makes it very convenient. If you've been playing without a mouse over macro for Havoc for a long time, it might take some getting used to, but it's actually pretty convenient for mobs that are spawning quickly without having to, de-target your main mob. So on and so forth. Up to you if you want to use it, but I'll have it in the paste bin. The last couple here, we have Rain of Fire. This makes it so you can cast Rain of Fire at your cursor location wherever you want without placing the green, circle reticle on the ground. I want a Rain of Fire over here. Hit the macro. Bam, there it is. There's no green circle to place Rain of Fire. I would highly recommend having this for anybody playing Destro. It is the biggest helpful macro, whatever you can use for Destro, hands down. This being here is a Soulstone macro. If a target is dead or on your raid frames, whatever, you don't need to actually target them. As long as you hover over their nameplate, whether they're in your party or your raid with this, you can keep your main enemy targeted. Say it's this dude right here. If somebody died, I can just go like, hey, maybe they're right here on my party frames. For example, I can go like this, hover over them. It'll Soulstone them. It just put it on me. It's a mouse or macro for Soulstone. Besides that, I've got a couple here that are basically just talent combination macros. For example, this one here is Demonic Strength and Bioscorch Bombers. This one here is Phantom Singularity and Taint. Now, both Bioscorch Bombers and Phantom and Strength, and then Phantom Singularity and Taint share a talent node for Demo and for Destro alike, right? Or for Demo and Alpha alike, right? You're never having both at the same time. It's one or the other. They share a talent node, one or the other. This macro will essentially combine it. So if I put it on my bars here, I actually already have it on my bars. If I am playing Bombers, it will show Bombers. If I hit this here, I'm not gonna hit it now, but if I do, it would just straight up cast Bombers at my, location, my mouse is at, or give me the option to do so, right? Whether you have it made for like, targeting at your cursor, which I do, or not, it'll do that. If I change to demonic strength, watch this macro right here. This is the keybind for bombers. It is now suddenly the keybind for demonic strength. It combines them into one, 2 keybinds into one. If you want to save space, you can do that. Theoretically, you can do it for any abilities. If you want to do it for like, I don't know, like Vile Fiend and Guillotine, you could, but that basically means you're only playing one at, it won't give you a keybind for both, if that makes sense. If you're playing both at the same time, it won't show both abilities. So for things like strength and bombers, great option. Singularity and Vitality for AF, a great option. I never ever played Nether Portal and Guillotine together in Dragonflight, so I had one for Nether Portal and Guillotine. But there's that. So links to those, or links to my paste bin for the macros down below in the description. And that is that. Let's get into add-ons and weak auras. Alrighty, so I'm going to go into an awkward full screen browser thing here and stare at the camera while I'm sitting up in my chair to show you guys this, and I'll alternate back between this and gameplay to show you guys both. This is my Wago. It has all the weak auras that I use in it. There's a link to it down below in the description, also on Twitch, !WA in chat. I'll pull it up for you whenever you want. My Discord also has it as well. This is looking at it from this is like a non-logged in view. This is what you guys will see when you get here. Number one, when it comes to filtering Wago for profiles and things, my weak auras are in here, and my plater profile's in here. Now, Wago sorts by expansion, and it sorts by add-on, basically. So like LVI, I don't use it. But if you're looking for plater, you want to click the plater nameplate button. It will show my plater profile, which is up to date. I'll show you it in game in a minute, as well as the pandemic glow script that I use right here, which makes DOS glow in the inner pandemic range. Now, when it comes to general weak auras, so click here. If you want like expansion specific weak auras, which all should just be war, then click all right here, or you can go through like each one individually. Just click all. Do that. So the first one here is an imp tracker. I'll show you it in game, but this is the imp tracker here. It was initial one from Rocky, and it is forked from Meowcat now. If you want that, it is in here. A lot of useful ones as well. Curse of Weakness missing. Auto releases from other bosses. Random ones people ask for in chat, I throw in here. If you want, don't ask about this one. I don't know. There's one for my cursor, which if you see it in combat here, if I get in combat, you'll be able to see it. It just puts a circle around my character here, basically. It might even just be all the time, actually. I lose it in combat at times. You can change the color to whatever you want. Purple, green, blue, white, silver, gray. It doesn't matter to me, but hey, mine is green. There is that. If you're looking for... I should probably delete this, actually. This is a weak aura for pets being on passive. It's also built in my main weak aura. This here, Soulstone Reminder. If you're in a raid setting, don't have a soulstone up, it'll say, hey, no soulstone up. This will put a marker on your screen if you're marked in the raid to show what icon you are. This is one I use for dungeon, RIO, and class. It shows what class is in the group with the color in the group. This right here is my main central weak aura for War Within. It was updated basically yesterday, and it is... going to be up to date using this same link for basically the remainder of me playing this game, whether it's a month, a week, a year, 10 years, hopefully a very long time. This is the one you're going to want. If you scroll through here, other various ones too, some weird ones, random ones here and there, but this one here removes chat frames. If you're looking for that, like here, I type, no frame. Very convenient for raiding as well, because honestly, chat frames get annoying. If you want it, you can remove it. Right here, Warlock Totem Pet Tracker. This shows active pets. My weak aura does too, but if you want it, I'll show you here in a minute as well. There's that. And once again, a bunch of like small ones here. I'll probably delete some of these honestly because they're duplicates, but hey, either way, they're here. So getting into actual in-game stuff, I'm on beta and retail. We're gonna look at beta right now. So when it comes to beta and weak auras, this is the main central weak aura that I use right here. It works for demonology, for affliction, and for destruction. It does indeed now work for pets. It will show like their active duration. If you tyrant, it will show their extension, and the same text as before. So a lot of things to track here. This is like main abilities right here. You'll see up here when I get in combat in a minute here, buffs pop up like demonic calling procs, random side effects, so on and so forth. Down here is more trinkets. If you have 2 unused trinkets, it'll show both here. I only have 1. Damage, defensive, like wall, pact, health stones, both demonic and non-demonic. Your gateway here, you can put it down. It's red, or it's green. If you run out of range, basically, it will become desaturated, like right about now, or red, I guess. If you're back in range, bang, it's green again. Should be. Should be. There we go. Hit it, and there you go. Great. Shadow Fury, so on and so forth. I don't know why there's text in here for both things. I'll fix that. Putting it aside, though, I'll fix that. The main thing here, it swaps for Demo, Destro, and AF, and whatever you want, it should display the ability here. For example, I have 2 stacks of Demonic Core. It's up here. There's the remaining duration. So I'm going to open up here and show you guys it in combat. So we're going to head in, casting my big red dog. There's his timer. Going to cast Dread Stalkers. There's their timer. I'm going to cast some Demonic Cores. I have 1 stack now. Hand and Gul'dan. Cast a Bolt. I have 0 stacks. I'm going to cast my Final Hand. I'm going to Tyrant here. Watch their timers. They extend from Tyrant. At the same time, this shows Demonic Strength. I can hit that. It shows for Diabolists, for Demonology, I have a Ritual proc ready to go. Overlord's ready. I cast a Shark consuming spell. He procs. There's the next Ritual coming around. Mother of Chaos. Big Mommy's ready. Hit that. There's Big Mommy. Here comes Pit Lord. This works for Demo, for Destro, for AF. It'll track dots for AF, Destro for Destro, all that. There might be a couple bugs in it right now. I think it's good to go for the most part, but not helped me a lot with it as well. I don't think it's not. Everybody else. If you find any bugs, let me know. I'll try and fix it, but that is, basically that. Also, quickly, I forgot to mention, if you want to import a weak aura, all you have to do is come into game, type /WA, like this. Weak auras will load here. When you get it in my Wago, if you grab any of them, all you have to do, come under here, say you want to grab the imp counter. Click on this, copy import string. You can come right back over here. This is retail. Let's go to beta. Press import, paste it in, and just hit import, and that weak aura will indeed appear for you. My weak aura for my imp tracker is sitting right here for Demonology. It does fully explain what it does in the Wago as well, which talks about like imp count, what it does. It's actually a bit of an outdated image. By the way, the imp counter's in there. All the ones we just looked at are in the Wago. If you want to import them, some are super simple, some are a little more involved, but this should all be explained either in the Wago or in game with the weak aura itself. Now, the next add-on I want to talk to you about is called Plater, which is a nameplate add-on. Once again, mine is in my Wago if you want it. All you gotta do is come here, click this button here for Plater profiles, and bang, there it is. Plater is his retail. These yellow plates right here are Plater. To a similar extent, this right here is beta. This is also Plater, the same yellow nameplates. It appears to be a little buggy on beta, not highlighting the plate that I have in purple all the time, but regardless, so like for example, you can customize it to your own liking. You can change your current target to have a different colored nameplate. On retail, mine is purple. I don't know why it's not working on beta, but hopefully it's fixed when the game goes live. It has arrows on the one that I'm targeting on the side here. You can customize it to show dots in different locations, to show like through scripting and modding glows on dots when they're getting close to falling. For example, here, I will put up a dot. I'll put up some agonies here, right? When these agonies reach their pandemic range, which is the range that they have, it's 30% of their remaining duration, they will all glow at me and say, hey, these are going to fall soon. You can refresh these about now, 1, 2, 3, 4, without losing any value. Pandemic range is the range you can refresh them in that will add their remaining duration onto the baseline dot. The baseline duration of agony is 18 seconds, but that one had 20 because I refreshed in pandemic. So number 1, it says, hey, you can refresh now without losing value. And number 2, it's a reminder to say, hey, these are falling. If you want to refresh, do it. Now, I also added a mod to this, which shows my current target that has UA on it in a red highlight. This is important because it's Affliction. You want to cast Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt on your UA target to proc Tormentic Crescendos. You can't hit non-UA targets anymore, or you won't get any procs. It tracks things like Shadow's Embrace, all your dots, whether you have one dot up and multiple dots, your haunts, your UA is falling again here, you can refresh that. Your haunts, all your dots here. I might have to move them up a little bit to, make it easier to see, but either way, point being, if you want it, it's a great name. Plater's a great add-on for tracking dots, effects on mobs, buffs, debuffs, so on and so forth. If you want to grab it, it's in my Wago. All you gotta do is come into Plater when you get in game, /Plater, hit enter, go into, where are we at here, profiles, hit import, paste it in there, it's yours. You're done. There's the Plater profile. If you want to get a little more involved, you can go into like scripting or modding to add different things. You can rename mobs M+. This is my UA script or mod right here. Scripting is in here. The pandemic glow effect is under here. If you want to search pandemic, you can whitelist and blacklist dots if you want to see them or not in pandemic range. General settings here, you can change nameplate size, buff, stacking nameplates over whatever you want. There's a lot of things you can do with Plater. It's incredibly customizable, but you don't have to know all this because the baseline profile, even on its own, is solid. If you want mine, link to my Wago down below, where you can get it for free. At the same time, there's plenty of awesome ones out there whether you want mine or somebody else's. Now, number 3 is going to be shadowed unit frames. People often ask, what am I using from my own player frame, my target frame, my target of target frame, so on and so forth, my party frames, raid frames. All of that is shadowed unit frames. So if you want the add-on, you have to go download it when you get it in game. Type /SUF, hit enter, and here is basically the configuration for it all. Now, my profile for SUF is not in my Wago. I can't put it in there. It is in my paste bin. Once you get it, and you come in game, your add-on will look like this likely, without a box appear. All you gotta do, come here, click the advanced, then you will see the layout manager pop up. Click that, click import, paste it in there, and my profile is yours. Very simple. If you want to export yours for whatever reason, go over here, export it, all the same. Now, what it does basically, this might look a little involved here, but it's not as complicated. What it's showing here basically is boss frames. For example, a boss fight, whether it's a raid fight or like a, dungeon fight in M+. This is going to be your boss frames. Now, this frame here is incredibly convenient for fights like Silken Court, council-based fights, where it's multiple bosses. You can literally just click this frame and target a boss wherever it's at in the room and apply dots by clicking that boss essentially. If you're using mouse or macros for it, that also works relatively well. But targeting boss frames, being able to track dots on bosses, it will show the dot effect on both bosses, the remaining duration of your dots. Very important to have there, very useful, very effective, all that. When it comes to frames over here, here are your raid frames. These are all just stacked here, but they never appear like this. I have arena frames over here if you want them. My party frames are sitting here, which I might shrink down a little bit actually, depending at some point in the expansion, but they're over here. My raid frames are all also over here. If you want those, my focus frame is here if I want it for whatever reason. And over here I have my frame, my target frame, and if you look, my target of target. So basically whatever I'm targeting, whatever it's looking at is right here. So I can see, I'm being fixated by a mob or something, whatever I need to know, basically it's right there. My pet frame's down here, sort of off to the side, out of view. You can, if you want to edit that, all you gotta do, come in here, click pet frame. You can go into here, editing things, enable portrait. There's his picture if he goes out. You can turn your portrait on and off by clicking player frame here. I don't want to see myself, or I do, so on and so forth. Or party frames here. I don't leave them on for anything, but there's that. Player, portrait, turn it off. I'm gone. There's that. It's very customizable. Very easy to work through. If there are units here that are not enabled, for example, let's say you want to have up party pets for whatever reason. I don't know why you would, but if they're not up and you want them, come in here to enabled units. If it's not on, click it. If you want my pet target on, over here, click it. And it should appear somewhere on the screen. I don't have it enabled because I don't think it's really relevant, but there is that. If you want arenas for arena pets or whatever, you can all enable it in here. Tinker with it, do what you gotta do. If you want to resize certain frames, for example, party frames, you can come in here. Frame, scale, height, width, whatever you want. It's all in here. All super simple, super easy to work with. It's a great just general party frame add-on, raid frame add-on, arena frame add-on, boss frame add-on, whatever you want, it's right here. If you don't want to mess with it at all, go to my paste bin, copy it, and it's yours. Number 4, I think, at least in this order, is going to be Bartender. People often ask, what are you using for your bars? Where's your LVUI profile? Because it looks similar to LVUI, at least as far as the layout is concerned. I don't use LVUI. I use Bartender. Bartender is what I use for my actual bars right here. It is Bartender. Now, this add-on has been around for a long time, and Blizzard has done a very good job at basically designing their own customizable UI to essentially mirror what Bartender does. You can do basically all of this through the default Blizzard UI, and I would honestly encourage you to do it over what I'm using for Bartender. The only reason I use Bartender is because it allows me to have certain bars like these right over here, basically faded out, with the alpha being 0, that if I hover over them, they appear. I can then click the buttons. I don't want these on my screen all the time. If Blizzard did this with the default UI, I would not use Bartender anymore. Bartender is a great add-on, but there's certainly a reason to use it if you don't need this. You can customize your UI all the same. Cool achievements, that's nice. All the same by using the default UI, edit mode, moving bars around, unless you want to fade bars out over here. Now, as far as the add-on is concerned, you can just type /bartender or click the button on your minimap. It's fine. You can put in key buttons like this by just hotkeying or just basically hovering over it, hitting a button if you want. I have mine bound here. It'll show the key button on the bars. If you want to come in here and basically just move bars around, let me try and find this here really fast. Where's the actual Bartender icon? My map's a mess. Sorry. If you right click this, it'll pull up the frame. If you left click, it'll just pull up all the bars. Drag them around, do what you gotta do. Status bars appear, extra action button right here. These 2 bars over here, 5 and 4, they are faded out. But you can see they have spells in them like, my mounts, my drums, soul wells, summon things, my dragon kite, so on and so forth. My utility bars are basically over there. And to a similar extent, I've also faded out my micro menu, my bag bar, and my pet bars over here. But these are also faded out, which means, I don't see them unless I hover over them. I don't have a pet right now, but there he is. But this bar over here, I know where it's at. Hover over it, bam, there it is. Bags over here. Typically just hit B, all the same, but either way, that's that. If you want Bartender and want to know how to fade bars out, all you gotta do, right click it, know the bars. I'll typically right click and left click, go over here. This is bar 5, this is bar 4. Bar 5, for example, if you want to fade it out, all you gotta do, come over here. This is what it looks like initially, bar 5. It will look like this in its baseline form, right? Go over here, visibility. It will show fade out being checked off. This is bar 2, which is sitting right here. This bar is always visible. If you want to fade it out, like bar 5, all you gotta do, click fade out alpha, drag it to 0. And watch this, bam, bar 2 is gone. There it is. So these bars are by default already faded out. So I go over here, just turn this back off, it's fine. And that bar should be back. There you go, right? These 2 bars over here, bar 5 and 4, they are already faded out. As you can see, their visibility is checked to fade out, and fade out alpha is 0. That's basically it. They're hidden unless you mouse over them, and there is that. It's simple. Once again, if you don't care about that, just use the Blizzard default UI for this stuff. It's actually very good, and if this was an option, I would use it in a second, but it's not. So yeah, that is Bartender. And we have Details up next. Details is an add-on most everybody probably knows. Details is a damage meter, but it has a lot more than that. You can track damage, you can track healing, you can track basically anything you want. Miscellaneous, you can go into dispels, interrupts, deaths, how people died, cooldown, well, cooldowns in a sense, kicks. There's a million of things you can look at, usage-wise, damage-wise, healing-wise, resource-wise. Details is basically like Warcraft logs light in-game. It is incredibly in-depth. An awesome tool to have around if you want just be a basic damage meter. If you want to see a lot more, healing done, deaths, current damage for the fight, overall damage for the whole night, you can do that like this. Incredibly involved, but like incredibly in depth, but very simple to manage. Now I have 3 meters here. You'll have 1 when you log in. The cool thing is that you can just come over here, and if you have 1, I'll unlock this. You'll have basically 1 frame. Well, you should have 1 frame floating around. Let me close these 2 out really fast here. I can. Try and close it out. There we go. Window control, close this and close this. You will have essentially 1 frame. If you want multiple windows, all you got to do, come to that frame. It's unlocked. You can make it bigger or smaller, whatever you want. Come right here, click the wheel control, or sorry, window control. Now I have these meters already up. If you don't, you can just click create window. It'll pull a window up for you. I'll pull this one up right here. There's a window. You can make it whatever you want. Healing done, damage done, whatever. Doesn't matter. You want a 3rd one? Bam. There you go. If you want to link these all together, here's number 1 right here. Bring number 2 right here. It'll glow. Bam. They're linked. Number 3, number 2. Bam. They're linked. And there you go. Merry Christmas. That's Details. My profile, I don't have it anywhere. It takes 10 seconds to build. Honestly, it's very simple, and honestly, people don't really need three boxes for the most part. If you want them, that's how you do it. Very simple. Great add-on. Would highly recommend grabbing it. And the last add-on I'm going to cover here is going to be BigWigs. BigWigs is for raiding, LittleWigs is for dungeons. Now, I'm going to say right now, there are a lot of add-ons I didn't cover here, like Omni CD, which puts, CDs on your party frames and dungeon settings and all that. If I covered every single add-on, it'd take 3 hours for this video. But I have a list in my Discord of them. I'll probably update it tomorrow. If you want them, check it out, go in there. Whatever you want, pick through it and go from there. But BigWigs is a raiding add-on. People typically use BigWigs or Deadly Boss mods. Both are great. You can use either or. I use BigWigs. If you want to open it up in game, /BW pulls it up, and basically here we are. Now, as far as this is concerned, there's a handful of options here, but this is my profile. I don't really, you can share them, but I can export mine to the paste bin, but I would highly recommend you to just straight up make your own. It's very simple, and every UI is different. And you want to have, when it comes to like rating and things in general, if you're looking for like boss timers and stuff, you want to have your information more centralized, right? You typically don't see many raiders with their, their frame or their target frame up here in the left corner anymore. They're typically down here, right? To a similar extent, there are weak auras in the center, other weak auras right here in this general vicinity of like, relevant information and gameplay that's happening, right? To a similar extent, my BigWigs profile, I'll create some test bars here. So right here, I have two different sections. This is the first one here for abilities that are coming, but they're not emphasized yet. They're coming down the line in 10 seconds, but watch this. This one's going to hit 10 seconds and it becomes emphasized. It's in a location that's even more central on a larger bar with a red overall frame counting down. You can see this one here hits 10. Here it comes. So for abilities that are like, happening in a sequential order every time on most boss fights, if you have some that are half a minute out, yeah, it might be it's likely worth knowing those are coming, right? I have, 24 seconds on Apocalypse Roar on Fyrek. It's coming. Before that, I have Seeds coming, and I have, Swirlies, and I have Tornadoes coming. But that Apocalypse Roar is coming in 10 seconds here, 13 seconds, 12, 11. So it helps you prepare for abilities coming down the line. Now, on top of that, you have other things too. I have moving anchors that show like, emphasize text in certain spots here and there, but I would highly encourage you to customize your actual own bars and own BigWigs if you want, because it's just really important to do so. If you want to move the bars, all you gotta do, come in here, you hit this show moving anchors, you can move the bars wherever you want. This is my lesser emphasized bars. This is more emphasized right here. You can put them wherever you want, but it's more centralized and stuff. If you want to build it around weakware packs, you can do that. To a similar extent, here are messages right here. I have a countdown right here. Big messages. Yeah, this is happening right now, middle of my screen, right in front of my character. It's transparent so I can see what's going on, but still, it's right there. Having BigWigs for raiding, LittleWigs for dungeons, some kind of raiding add-on for mechanics and timers is very important. I use BigWigs, very easy to customize. I would encourage you to do so as well, and build it around your own UI. All right, and the final little bit here is going to be the War Within Beta Warlock Spreadsheet. Flashbang warning, it's a little bright. I'm sorry, this is a new computer. I don't have dark mode on here and all that. I lost it. Here we go. That is actually pretty bright. So the spreadsheet is indeed public. This is the one that's on Patreon for early access for a while during alpha and beta. They always go public, whether it's beta or PTR builds before the patch goes live or expansion. Here we are. It's indeed live. Should be a link down below. Let me actually make a note of that too. Spreadsheet link. Cool. So a handful of pages here. I will say Sims are not done, unfortunately, for all the trinkets or embellishments or gearing yet. When they are, the Sims tabs, or I guess BIS gearing tabs, and the Sims tab will indeed be up to date with, the Sims that are mentioned here in gearing. So on and so forth. Now, when it comes to the first tab here, these are all the bosses in the raid, 1 through 8. The fight type, recommended spec, which this might change a bit depending on tuning and stuff. As far as like talent builds, Frisco, Destro, Demo, AF, these they might link to certain things. They do. They're half broken though. Blizzard keeps breaking talent builds every single week, and like breaking meaning that there's changing because like changes to beta, whatever. It's incredibly exhausting having to go through and change all of these every single week in here, in the paste bin, in the Wago, and so these will be up to date after launch when we get closer to the raid, when tuning happens. But regardless, the specs that are played in these fights, they're single target or cleave based or AoE. They are indeed all listed in the AF builds, Destro builds, Demo builds part of the guide, which we'll get to in a minute here. There are notes in the fight too, but like the notes in red are the mythic changes here. Links to heroic testing, mythic testing, updated change log note up here. This is my guild's full normal clear of the raid. Here, there we go. Here's a spreadsheet for raid testing, which is not mine. Somebody made for overall like raid testing purposes from beta. My personal logs and raid testing, Warcraft logs. If you want to go here and dig through all the logs I did, hey, feel free, do it to it. There you go. This is the paste bin link to all the beta talent builds. Also, out of date because they broke today again. I'll update it before this video comes out, hopefully. And in general, a feedback doc link, probably delete that, honestly, because it's out of date, but there's that. If you want any of the boss videos testing here, heroic, mythic, the notes in the fights, the boss, the order they're in, and soon updated talent builds from all, this is where you want to go. We have builds here for AF, for Destro, for Demo. Now, we have Hellcaller here. I don't have Soul Harvester AF in here for single target. I will get to it after this. I noticed about a minute ago I didn't have that, but that's okay. Hellcaller is here. These builds might be a tiny bit out of date. Once again, they'll be all up to date when this video comes out in the spreadsheet for AF, for Demo, for Destro, both the actual Wowhead link and the import code. When it comes to like, you know, BIS gearing tabs, I'm doing this BIS gearing. There really isn't BIS gearing anymore in general, but for the most part, there are some items like rare items, good items we know are going to be chase items in the raid, trinkets and all that. So when sim profiles are done, this will be up to date, but there are some we know of already, like, you know, like this cloak, this neck, so on and so forth, which are down here. And this Sims tab, once again, in the end here, when these are all, you know, out or up to date and APLs are out there and stuff, I will fill all these in with Sims and all that. But if you want, as a general reference point, the spreadsheet is here, link down below, and also Kalamazi.gg, my website will indeed be up to date for launch and for the raid and all that. It's not yet, but it will be soon. Work in progress. A lot to get done, but we're getting there. So thanks for watching, guys. Like always, that wraps it up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully if you had any questions about my UI or add-ons, profiles, whatever, they were answered here. If not, there's a section in my Discord that you can hop into down below. It's linked to it. There's a Week Wars add-ons section where they should all be in there for you. A list of the add-ons as well as, you know, probably various profiles. You can put !WA in Twitch chat for links to my Wago and my Payspin where you can get it for free. Macros, Week Wars, whatever you want, they are all indeed in there for free for you guys. And yeah. That's basically that. We have less than 5 days until launch, I think, at this point, roughly, and I'm excited, but I'm worried because I have a lot to do. Spec guides, this, that, and everything else. I want to make this video because I get a lot of questions over the expansion in general about Week Wars, add-ons, and all that. So this should have hopefully covered it all for you guys. Before I end the video, one huge shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Like always, guys, thank you all a million times. I greatly appreciate it. Without it, I wouldn't be able to do what I do for you guys, make content, all that, and just, you know, everything. So yeah, for all that, guys, once again, greatly, I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down below in the description. And you know, that is that. If you guys missed my video yesterday on leveling, the leveling guide, different talent builds for each spec, hero talents, and a general tips section on, you know, consumables and all that stuff. There should be a link somewhere in the end card in a minute here, and just in general on the channel, you can check it out. It's there. I'm leveling as Destro Shadowburn. Triple conflagrate, damage-based trinkets, shadow flame stuff, all that should be crushing everything. Should be really fast, and it'll be fun. So I'm excited. Hope you guys are as well. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. Helps out a ton. And I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.